Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
Do you need an intermediary between the sun and the earth to tell what the earth needs to do and to put the sun in a position of work with earth? Does the sun negotiate, talk to someone to teach earth how to rotate, how to move, how to become that emotion of being earth? Or, as now he has the control and understanding of his physical structure, it communicates with it direct, with the understanding of other fields and the environment. So the soul of the solar system, the sun, we call it the soul in the body of the man, does not need any intermediaries. As it interacts now, it has its dimension, it has its parameters, and it works. The biggest question now for you as a human race is this. If you understood this, that the sun and the solar system and the interplanetary system, and it does not need any intermediary negotiators, how do you as human race allow mullahs and ayatollahs to tell you how to feel between your soul and the solar physicality and your physical life, when now you understand you're responsible for it? This brings an end to abuse of religions, if you understand the principle of the knowledge. Why do we need to interrupt the physicality within the soul for it to conduct good, where we allow it to abuse when the physicality takes over the soul? This brings us a lot of understanding. This brings an end to the religions. This brings an end into the abuse in the name of the Creator, that not even single ray of the lights of the cosmic lights, universal lights or rays of the Creator ever reached Ayatollah Khamenei. How can he claim to be of it? The same with the Vatican. I put my life at risk, but I've been here for thousands of years. I just changed the clock. And we'll get you. The challenge was that the protector of the faith, the protector of the God's will, the God is here. Answer to it, otherwise it will never end. The God is amalgamation of the souls of the humanity. This is a call for all the religions to end. A new challenge will show, will stand. My direct call goes to those who are set in Iran to protect the return of Mahdi. He has arrived. This arm. It's your own soul. You have to walk away with it. Now, when the Creator hasn't got intermediaries, but the people who inform of the knowledge, He does not intermediaries in the name of the mullahs, ayatollahs, Vaticans with the report of abuse, Jerusalem priests and what we call rabbis with the misleading of the conflict between the two nations and what they call one nation of Palestine. The same goes to the what we call Buddhist and the religions become what? When man understands religions means the conduct of the soul and not a way to what I call put it through is the phases of abuse. If you understand this process, if you understand how you can connect and how you are connected back to the earth to the sun without intermediaries, then you should understand there is a bigger scale of work. The universe, the universe, and other levels in between which man is not aware of, and finally the totality of the comet from this end by knowledge. And our job is to come to and go back. To you, the cycle of coming and going back to maybe 50 or 80 years. To us is billions of years. We have to get that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 484th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, May 4th, 2023. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute, Education Department, and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'll be host today in this workshop, as in the previous 483 workshops. And also we are joined with Mr. Mehran Keshe, who's also been here for the last 483 workshops as well. Plus, Mr. Keshe, are you ready to begin today's teaching?
Good morning, good day to you. As usual, wherever you listen to the series of knowledge seekers of the Keshe Foundation and Spaceship Institute, we welcome you back, as usual, to add to the knowledge and learn from each other. Today's teaching is mainly on the basis of what we heard on the intro. When do we recognize that we are listening to the call of our soul? And when do we consider that the call we hear is a collective call? When we do something for ourselves and when we do something for other souls. As we discussed last week, last times, we think we are in charge of, we think we plan everything, but we find out in between the soul does its job. It's using the physicality to get to do work for other souls. We never know the chap, but we crash into his car during the lunchtime, as we said, and then we find out the reason was the guy was actually in the car with a mistress which was cheating on the wife, and this way he had to be found out that the wife finds out on the rest of it. In a way, that accident was part of it, that you decided to go to work. The other part of it is that the collective souls set for the dimension that the soul of physicality of the man or whatever comes to the point of what we call the judgment, the point of the whole thing to open up, that the soul of the wife, which is aware of the misconduct of the physicality of the husband, gets the physicality of the wife to know. And then we know the rest of the stories. So, as we see, we are partially working in the way under the banner of us planning the working 9 to 5, but the souls, in setting up what it has to be done, set up the rest. So we see that we actually live in both dimensions. We actually have this problem that we lived 9 to 5, but at the same time we serve the souls of the others to free the soul of somebody else to become aware of physicality of misconduct of the other through whatever it comes. This is what we call accidentally. Eventually we find out there are no accidents. We have to distinguish between the work of the soul and the work of the physicality, and where one ends up with the other, or when do they work together to bring to man to a point. This is what is happening today. Every man has lived through the birth of one way or another, and now collectively the human race is coming to the point that all souls are becoming educated to reach to the point that the man gains the knowledge to travel the depth of the universe through the energy of the soul of the man. This is where most of knowledge seekers and most of the humanity have been blocked, have not understood, have not come to understand that in one way we all run our 7, now 8 billion physical lives, but collectively our souls works to organize everything for all the souls to reach a point of maturity. And this is where the new manifestation of understanding and knowledge will arise. Where the man will become mature to understand, not only I live a life of me here, but I live through my soul the life of connection to the rest of the creatures of this planet. Somebody kicked a dog and needs to be straightened because the soul wasn't happy what the physicality did. So get somebody from another point of the world to turn up and kick the guy to understand you kicked the dog, see how he feels. So, if you understand this, then man collectively become one when they live the life of Mitra. To talk good, to think good, and to act good. Which means none of us makes a mistake that for the others to be set up to. And so the soul of the humanity, the soul of the living life of this planet will move in one direction, in one process. To get to that point, we need to create a condition that all physicalities live a correct life. A life without hunger, a life without pain, a life without poverty of the minimum. Does not matter what we call minimum. This is the responsibility of the world leaders to bring humanity to that point. And this is why in the call of raising soul of the leaders, we brought you to that point. This is our call, this is the revolution, and what I call control of your soul with us to understand what we need. To what extent would we go to produce this condition? To what extent we go collectively to create a condition that is not me anymore, is us, but us is the soul of totality of the race of the man, the cat, the dog, and every living things on this planet. Then it comes, if this is the case, what happened to the soul of the planet Earth in conjunction and in interaction with the other souls? When we do good, we act good, we live good, then what does that will do in connection to the rest of the creations of the Creator? Now you see, now you understand the behavior of the totality of the man or living things on this planet has effects on other souls in the universe. When you do wrong, then another star has to get the kick and the galaxy has to kick it, and then it comes another galaxy kicking that galaxy in the soul. If you understand the proportion and the scale of the work, then you understand when you have one brick set wrong, the whole wall will be twisted and twinkled. And that little brick, which has gone wrong and has created too much twinkling and bending on the wall of the Creator, is the creation of man. And this is why you all had these prophets trying to get you sorted, trying to get you to understand, trying to educate you to live the path of Mitra, that the wall of the creation stands straight. The wall of creation stands correct. Just 1 second, please. Then we understand. Then we come to the point of understanding is not anymore me, is not anymore the soul of me, is not anymore me as one man, is the soul of the creation and the created on this planet as the totality of the life. Then we stand responsible to create the next generation of man with the right conduct, that the wall stands straight from here to the Creator. Maybe some of you will come to understand why we create all these technologies to create food, to get rid of your pains, to create energy, to create everything else for you. Because this is the beginning of the cycle. This is the beginning of creating comfort for all created. That the life of the man does not need to do wrong. And everyone in every shape or form, even the dog and the cat, will live the life through the soul, the life of truth. Because man is physical. And as I said, when we come this time, we correct everything in one go. And we cannot just say to do good. We cannot say just to don't do a crime. When we create a condition that you cannot feed your child, when we create a condition that you see all the wrongs, and then you have to find a way, and with the class difference, with the race difference man has created, pushes one society or other in a direction just to survive. With it comes the rest of it, the criminality and the rest of it. Why majority of the crimes, according to the statistics on the prisons of the United States, are blacks? Because the society marginalized them from the beginning, brought them in as a slave, but not as equal. And to change the what we call the rednecks to understand that there is no difference in their blood than the black man, and in a way they owe the life they have to them, that they build this nation of the United States, then we don't have this problem. Now the time comes when the knowledge and the technology we deliver does not know any race, color, religion, or whatever. When we produce a maggraph, when we produce the enhancement systems, we don't ask you if your color is black, yellow, or white. When we teach, when we bring the knowledge, I never asked any of you in past 20 years of teaching and promotion of the life on this planet to be equal and peaceful. Are you black? Are you white? Are you rich? Are you poor? Do you have a blue eyes or do you have a brown eyes? Are you Jewish? Are you Muslim? My knowledge, my love has been freely given to all of you as a knowledge, that with that knowledge, with understanding of it, then you learn to give unconditionally. This is the gift which we bring. This is the way we bring this, that becomes the style, the way of life for mankind. With it, we bring the technology to teach you how to make the energy, how to feed yourself with gases, that in a bigger dimension, then the world leaders bring man to that point, that everyone gets what they need, where the monetary value has no value anymore. We teach the governments and we teach the citizens. Where the government fails, the citizen picks. Where the citizen fails, the government picks. And this is the way it will come. In the coming weeks and months and years, you will see the change, the evolution in the soul of the man. Where by the time I finish, no child on this planet will sleep hungry. This is the promise we gave, and we keep to that promise. And you've seen the beginning of the evolution of it. You carry a headphone, you carry the dimensional extension of the soul. I can reach you with the food and medicine that you feel no hunger. And the technology sits within the frameworks of the Keshe Foundation in its. No child needs to go to sleep. No parents need to worry if I can feed my child that will not go to sleep hungry. Where this is the mobile phone, just put the headset on. We feed the soul. The soul learns the equality. The soul learns the peaceful to go to sleep. The soul wakes up peaceful in the dimension of physicality, and this will change the course of humanity. In that process, we change everything step by step. Even no dog shall go hungry. No lion will kill, as the waves of the equality of the noise of hunger will not be there in the soul of the animal. where we feed it with the satellites. When today a satellite flies overhead, does it matter if you carry a Apple or God knows Sony or whatever telephone? It takes from one and gives the message to the other. This is how we planned it, and this is how, with dimension of technology, man, we have allowed to create for itself, to bring to that position that this will be the same. It'll take me 1 second to make all of you to walk away from religions. And the systems are there. Man has created systems for people like us with the knowledge of universe to touch every soul. But what's going to happen if it's not ingrained in the soul of physicality of the man? You as knowledge seekers, in coming weeks and months, you will see evolution in the cycle of the life of the man, where we will reach most of you, where we'll change the dimension of the needs of the man, wanting peace, wanting to live a peaceful life, become the norm of the life, where everything is provided. It's not just to change the man. We have to change the mentality of the governing bodies of this planet the same. We have to create jobs that people don't do anything wrong, and we have to keep them busy. Where the governments have to think, we have to create a condition of comfort, we have to create condition of the maturity and wealth in the feeding of the soul of the man, that man can walk the streets for months and years, can go from one nation to another in 1 second, and still be peaceful. In my travels through the universe, I've never seen factories, sweatshops, refineries, the jails and the courts, except on the planet of the man, which has made himself all this mess to confirm the existence and hierarchy and control of one over the other. I wonder, when we put man on the UFOs the size of this planet, as man has seen many coming from other corners of the universe, would we find sweatshops in there, and would we find slaves? Would we find difference between the races? We took these people from that galaxy and that planet that are lower than us, the class difference, the education difference, or are they all given knowledge and the information and the food of the soul? And in a way, they just pass time. Have you ever seen a UFO landing and suddenly everybody coming out and opening shops that you go and buy? Oh, I have this from that planet, or I have that from that galaxy. Man who keeps on claiming being in touch with the aliens, how much has he alienated himself with the lack of knowledge of himself? Now we understand. As we say in English, if you were there in the 70s and 80s, why do the Pakistanis never get to the final of the World Cup? Because every time you get a corner, they open a shop. Would the man travel to space in the new flight system, and as soon as they get to the Mars and other planets, open shop? One sells clothes, one sells television, one sells God knows what. Do the citizens of the universe need the rubbish man has busied himself with? How many of you claim, how many nations claim for over centuries and thousands of years, they have seen these flying saucers, they've landed, they come and go, but how many of you have seen aliens market? Opens every Sunday at 6 o'clock and closes at 12 when the church bell rings. Now you understand how the life of the man has been entangled in a mess of what they call slavery to physicality. We teach you, on the other hand, we open the doors to the governments to create without them knowing the condition for the change, to bring in the position of the conversion. We teach you how, and we give you why the gas units. We give the same gas unit production to the governments to run the power stations and sell the gas to you. But there is a difference between the gas we produce through the gas system and the gas you get from the depth of the planet. The gas we produce touches the energies of the soul of the man. Whoever touches the gas finds peace, finds elevation of knowledge, finds the process of. I cannot sell 1 trillion, 1 billion gas units, but I can get the governments to create the gas stations, to feed it down the pipelines, to get to you and through electricity to you. We change man without the man knowing. We correct the behavior of the man without the man knowing. Now you understand how deep our work is. Do you remember? If you work with the gases, we told you to inhale. And if you inhale the right combination, it helped you with your corona, with the virus. Killing and destroying your life is the habit of the man, is a virus. I cannot sell a gas unit to every single house, but I can get nations to pipe it down the lines and to mass deliver it, that no citizens of this city which uses gas as a part of the energy of the burning in the house and electricity will do no crime. It's easier to get the governments to change than loads of men to change, where without them knowing, we deliver the totality. In a coming time, you hear in the industrialization of the technology, we have cities that there is a zero crime. Find the mayor, give him a prize. He has found somewhere that there is no crime. Yes, find the Keshe Foundation, which has put a gas producer station in the town and is changing the solar. We have our own ways to deliver, and we still play hard to get, because if we play easy to get, then they see us as a fool, and it goes back to the habit of the past. We know man well, and we play the game of the man, be it from his leader to street cleaner. Now you understand what is set for humanity to come, and we have started that process. But this way, we touch the life of every man, because when that gas burns to produce that electricity, when that gas burns to cook for you in the house, the gas's energy that you inhale cooking over change you from hating your husband to loving him. Finding the life difficult, you find pleasure in living. People with anxiety in the city now cover the same. Don't forget, we said all the time, one atom of hydrogen can cover a universe. They change the process of the manifestation, elevation of the soul of the man in totality has started. But we're still there to make a little patches there and something else there to keep you busy, to educate man, to find a way to the governments that it changes the inner structure of the life on this planet. And then it changes, it ingrains in the soul and a dimension of soul of physicality and what we call DNA and RNA. We know our game. We know how to reach. Very soon you hear cities which are fed and supplied by gas from Keshe Foundation, and the governments have the majority of it. Yes, we know, we understand, we play the fool, but these cities become the example. We shall not see crime in them, we shall not see no child going hungry in them, we shall not see no one sick again the way they've been. And then they look for a question. How did this happen? Nothing. The knowledge of the Creator to the hand of the man through the government has said to do. And then they become examples. As many of you know, today El Salvador is in that position. The president of El Salvador has become unique creature. He has managed to make prison. He's put 65,000 people in prison, all the criminals, and the crime rate has died. And he's found a solution. He has not elevated the soul of the man. He has entrapped and imprisoned the physicality of the man. These men, one day break out, and he hasn't solved the problem. As I said to the ambassador, give the prisons to me. And this lot will never commit a crime. We'll give them to cook in prison with the gas cans, where the soul education comes in, where the elevation of the soul of the man comes in, and then when the man finds peace. You imprison the physicality of the man, a freed soul of the man that will never imprison the physicality. This is the dimension which now we have created for the world leaders to walk into, thinking they do well for their nations, but in fact, they carry our wishes. They carry it the way we want things to be done, the way it will change and ingrain in the soul of the man, in the DNA of the man, in the RNA of the man, without the man knowing. How many of you we have taught about the gases and magraphs, and how many of you have made it the wrong way, created the wrong energy, and you're still in the same mess? Mr. Keshe, my magraph doesn't work. Your system is wrong. But the soul of the fields of the universe, through the magraphs which don't work, has already reached you. Now you understand. We know our way. We know the way. We have to work on the level of individuality and work at the level of the government. We have to change the air the man breathes on this planet, that it shall not commit a crime. And how can you reach the air of this planet except through the gases? Except through the gases which flow the planet and the man breathes. We throw the gases in production into the rivers, and we cover the soul of this planet with gases. Isn't this the way those of you who came to us in different parts of the world and from different parts of the world, I gave you 3 cups. 1 cup to inhale, 1 cup to drink, and 1 cup to wash the body with, or make it as a unit to attach to physicality. Now, in a bigger scale, we have started change for what this planet brought short to man, that made man to live, create the condition of criminality and injustice. You are happy with the gas. I am happy with you to burn, to change the air of this planet. That what is breath by the cat and the dog brings and elevates them to the same as the man does. You are happy with the free energy of the gas. I am happy that I change with the release of the gas, the elevation of the plants and the animals and the rest. When the Creator works, he knows how to get the man going. In the next few weeks, one of the first cities on this planet working on the gas cans will go into operation, maybe 6 months from now. And then we watch the behavior, the social structure, the way the citizens of the city will change. In another city, we start the gas cans power generators. That will be much easier than you burning the gas, because they burn it for you in thousands of gallons and liters to give you the electricity. And you find the same with the citizens of that city. We have started the process, and the world leaders have taken the bite. They are happy that they have independent free energy, and we are happy that we get what we want. In burning the gas, they produce waters which is embedded within it. The structure of the elevation of the soul of the man. When you burn the gas, you create water, and the water goes to be drank by the same souls as the bread that gas had. I am master in my work, and I know how to play with an infant, and how to play with the educated man, and how walk the world leaders to do what we want, the way we want, for them to keep governing, and we keep to bring the change. Now you understand how the world of creation will evolve in the dimension and understanding of the totality. The time for the lion and the lamb to sleep in the same den has come, as all will breathe from the same air as the gas, and drink from the water of the burning gas, and then, as it rains on, sleep on the ground, which is saturated with the same, where they receive the energies, not for the dimension of physicality, but the elevation of the soul of the man and the animal. This was promised, and the promise is fulfilled. The lion being the leaders, and the lamb the citizens. There should be no king. There shall be no one to claim the crown of kingship, as all are equal. All breathe the same air, drink the same water, and sleep on the same land that we have elevated. Instead of going within, we have walked from outside to go within the soul of it. Now you understand. Now you'll come to understand more how in the coming months and years we have changed the man from criminality to become the lover of Mitra, to live by the ethos of the Creator. This is what the promise has been. And we have managed to get the most powerful man on this planet to bite the apple. Not knowing what they're walking the nations into. A nation of no criminality, a nation of no hunger, a nation of all equal in taking what they need from the energy of the man. Then they would not think about, we need employment, we need to keep people busy, as the man in the elevation of the soul become the traveler of the universe, and this planet will lack numbers to keep the structure of life. If the leaders of the world do not understand what is about to come, in a very short time, less than half a century, as we see, there is a restriction on how you can leave a city or a country to go to another. World leaders in a handful of decades will create a condition how even the souls cannot leave this planet, as we are depleting and we cannot keep the services to the rest of the humanity the way we want to do, as we would like to protect the life on this planet. Man has a habit of trying to find out what's behind the next mountain. Now man has the habit to find out what's behind the next solar system and next galaxy and the next universe. The Creator has never created more peculiar animal than the man. And that has been one of the beauties of the creation. The curiosity has given extension, and the need has brought expansion. Just think of one point. If there was one man and one woman where the life started with, and now it's 8 billions of you, do not forget so many percentage every year die and a new one comes in, how from one spot on this planet, the next village, and the next village, and the next city, and the next country was created. As the families expanded and the water resources, which was the cause of and creation of life, came to its limitation. So man went to the next village, next spot, and made his own village. But the beauty of it is, where would man make another village in the universe called the village of Earth? We are travelers of the earth, but we are not the refugees. We came to expand and create it. Many of you will come, and the recording of today will become one of the cornerstones of the teachings, when you understand how we delivered what we promised. When we get the world leaders working with us, it works much faster. And when we create a condition of the position that brings peace to the world leaders, they become baffled the way the citizens will respond. I am master of disguise. And in a way, we teach you. And it's for you to understand what is being taught and what is to come. When I gave the key of the knowledge to the world leaders, many of you abandoned the Keshe Foundation. You betrayed us. We were supposed to. We gave you the key. You managed to do nothing for past 6-7 years, except trying to be more greedy to cheat. So we went back to the leaders and we brought you to support the leaders, this time through the soul, to achieve the same. The greed of the bigger greed shall become to greed. The greed of power has allowed us to bring the greed of peace. But for them to do it for us, than us to do it for them. And we played so hard. We are not happy with what you're giving us, we're getting, because we actually are taking your soul. Forget about you installing our gas units. Be elevating the soul of your nation and the planet. Because opposite to criterion of the Corona, which had a new border and nationality, and in one border in one country it was there and the next door wasn't there. It's the first time we see nationalistic virus. This time the air you burn will travel to the next village and across the borders to another country. It's not there at all to be inhaled by the citizens of the city. Now you understand. Will rain love and care from the skies of this planet through the conduct of the man and greed of his leaders. And it come to the point that leaders find no reason to lead, as it's led through the soul of them. In the coming time, you and your children and grandchildren will understand the teaching of today. But till that time, you sleep well and taste the hunger of the physicality, where we gave you the taste of the freedom, the soul of it. Tonight, 15% of the children of the most richest nation on this planet will sleep hungry in the United States, as the parents do not have the money to feed them. 3% of the children in Africa, in the poorest nation, will die, will sleep hunger. Because the Africans have learned how to walk through the jungle, pick up from the tree, and how to eat very little, till little can keep you going. The bigger supermarkets, the better shelved, the more hungry that nation carries. Every time you go to a supermarket and see it well shelved, add up how many people cannot afford it, and you see the percentage of children in that nation will sleep that hungry that night. The wealth of the man has become the shame of the man. And this will change. We have set to change the course, and we have got the world leaders to bite at it. And they're so pleased that they're biting it. And we say yes. We are not still happy, but yes. Because we know they will deliver what we want. They will deliver the promise of the creed. The elevation of the soul. Through the man himself, as then it will become ingrained within the soul of the physicality. Thank you very much for today. And I hope you remember the teaching of the 4th of May, 2023. We go for a small break and we come back and try to answer some of your questions.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Very good teaching. Thank you. Okay, we'll take a few minutes here to have a look at some videos and be back shortly. This is the 484th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, May 4th, 2023. Okay, we'll have a look at the Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit to begin with. See you in a few minutes.
The revolutionary new Flight Enhancement Spaceship unit is due to be launched in June 2022, and in the same year is expected to fly passengers into space, to the moon and beyond for a day or even several days at a time. There is no need for the Flight Enhancement Spaceship unit to carry food or medicine, as it is equipped with the latest space technology for transportation, transmutation and deep space operation. This extraordinary breakthrough technology ushers in a new era of travel without the need of fuel, food, or medicine, even during the longest excursions into deep space. Each spaceship unit has a 4-passenger capacity for long or short duration flights and has the capability to travel between cities on Earth in a matter of seconds to minutes, depending on the distance and speed. This ability to traverse massive distance in such incredibly short time is not just a breakthrough for human transport, it also completely revolutionizes the transportation of goods and cargo and will rapidly overcome the need for one of our most polluting practices, namely marine shipping, as it finally breaks us free not only from the combustion of heavy diesel, but from the combustion of any fuel for propulsion in the future. The Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a new paradigm in space travel, space medicine, and space technology. The new Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a plasma space technology to prepare humanity for transportation and transmutation in deep space. Essential processes are embedded to prevent mutations and psychosomatic conditions during deep space travel. This new system is designed to support upper body conditions, especially of the lungs and intestines, and can be targeted specifically for each organ. When inside the Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the body experiences balance in totality, enabling it to correct and rebalance all the fields within itself. The new Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a dimension in health and transportation never seen before.
Okay, we're back again at the 484th Knowledge Seekers Workshop. And this is the second half of the show, and that usually means that Mr. Keshe is willing to answer questions from people. But before we launch into that, I have to ask Mr. Keshe if he'd like to continue with something you'd like to say first, or shall we go into questions?
Not really, but maybe, first of all, The list we put up last week for the last pieces of the materials donated to the foundation is completed. Thank you very much for the donations, and thank you very much for you people, knowledge seekers, taking the challenge up and receiving them. We still got a few pieces of paintings left because we can't find people who value the art. And on the other hand, everything is good enough. And we're going through the challenges of life of any technology like us. And hopefully for those of you who participated in the addiction session of last Friday, do not forget that we meet on Friday, the same time, 12 o'clock Central European time, and we will see what has changed for some of you, and we understand and see the testimonial of some of you. If you manage, if you reach to the soul of you, and some of you did not receive the what we call the balance fields of what we're looking for, and if did any of you kick the habits or an addiction, be it from loving to smoking to drinking and everything else. So we'll see you as knowledge seekers tomorrow. We are planning what we call May session of meeting with the Creator, and this session will be announced in the next couple of days, as we have to complete a job which our mission has got himself tied up with very, what we call, willingly in the past few weeks. If there are any questions, we answer, and we try to finish today in an hour or so.
Okay, thank you. We have a hand up here. It's Roseanne. Perhaps we'll start with that.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Hello, Rick. Hello, everybody. Mr. Keshe, you may remember that a few weeks ago I asked a question about the black stuff that I got when I was making CH3 GANs. And as you mentioned, I separated that black stuff in a jar, and I tried the magnet on it, and it was pulling, the magnet was pulling the black stuff up. So is it only iron oxide, or does it have also deuterium? This is my question today.
It could be a combination of both, but you most probably, you've got this one making CH3, if I'm correct. And this comes as part of nanomaterials in the GANs form from iron. This has a lot of use for those of you who actually get it. This has huge use, but we prefer not to disclose it at the moment, because then it creates another new dimension of abuse by knowledge seekers. This GANs you have produced has implication and application in many, many, many parts of the life of the man and this planet. Partially could be deuterium, but deuterium usually is mixed in within this gas. And there is a method that you can separate it, and then you'll see what you have is deuterium. The knowledge of the technology today has reached a level that we do not need to produce the way you produce gases to reach the point of the energy transfer. And in the coming time, this knowledge will be shared, that you create a condition of totality and not a condition of singularity of a given field and material. But in essence, you have a mixture of both iron GaNs and deuterium, but there is a way that you can separate it. It's very, very, you will see the deuterium in a darkish black, where iron is a black. It's very much like when you have a zinc and CO2 mixed in the bottom, and you'll see the zinc moving to the top and CO2 at the bottom.
Yeah, I put
So,
on the next, sorry.
Carry on.
I put it also next to CO2 GaNs and ZNO GaNs, but nothing happened there. So there was no change to them. No field, I didn't see any field there.
Yeah, but you usually get that with the CO2 and the zinc. If you have the GaNs of iron, if you had more GaNs of deuterium, you'll see that pull up, but usually happens. In the early years, when knowledge seekers start working, some knowledge seekers touched but never understood the circulation of the GaNs. And if you go back to that with circulation of GaNs, you can separate the deuterium from iron. That's an art. I'm sure Rick knows how to do it. Years ago, a few knowledge seekers touched it and never understood, and they left it. You have, some of you, if you go back to the old videos of the teaching, you have a central circulation and you have a vertical circulation. We've seen many people posting GaNs which they circulate like a vortex. And we've seen knowledge seekers who have posted the GaNs going to the top and coming down. If you understand this principle fully and you understand what it means, and you can use the two in collaboration with each other, you can do a lot of things. A lot of new knowledge will break through, but you have to understand this. And this GaNs of iron deuterium is one of those cornerstones of understanding this process. I'm sure if you look at the archives on YouTube of the people who made GaNs or go to golden age of GaNs and the rest of it, you will see these things. Where
So
knowledge
I got,
seekers for this separation. Carry on.
So I got something valuable that I don't understand how to use it. So I just keep it the way it is.
The one
Until
that
I
you understand. I'm correct if I say you're Iranian from US or Canada?
Canada, yes.
Yes.
My accent says that?
No, it's just I remember something from you.
Yes, yes. Good memories. Good memory.
Yeah, they're old,
Thank
but it's still got Alzheimer's yet. Thank you very much. Any other question?
Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. We have a hand up with Nikolai here. Excuse me, Nikolai here as well.
Hello.
Hello.
Good to talk to you, Mr. Keshe. So this is actually Dirk using Nikolai's phone, and Nikolai is next to me. He's also listening in. We're currently in Mexico in the state of Michoacan, and we have a connection to the local government, to a congresswoman, to the governor, and she's very much sympathetic with creating the best possible world, and which is also our mission here. And we are just looking into investing into a biofermentation plant, which essentially builds and grows bacteria that are biostimulants to the soil, and hence improves the soil's capacity to retain water and life by extension. And we were thinking about, would it make sense to either switch that investment into one of the hydrogen generators or GaNs generators that you were talking about today, or having them combined with a biofermentation device. And in case that it would make sense to do that, how would we go about moving forward with buying one of those and applying it here in the state of Michoacan. That being said, this is a state of okay, yeah.
What's the scale of your work?
Right now, we're talking about a prototype plant. We're looking, like Michoacan is one of the main food producing states in all of Mexico, and they produce a lot of the food all over the world. And they also are pretty crime ridden here. So we're thinking it could be a really good place to start creating these fields. And we have, I think, a really, really good setup to be able to scale really rapidly of the connections that we have already made. But this is still a pilot plant at this point. We're talking about probably somewhere around $25,000-$50,000 that we have to invest. It's more like a demonstration site at this point that we can show people how it works, and then we'll get we have all the networks to then scale this up to potentially, very huge operation.
Yeah, but then you're still looking for finances to be able to do it, even if you do it on a smaller scale.
No, we do have the finances for the small scale already.
Yes, that's what I mean. Then if you succeed, then you still have to go and find finances, especially in Mexico, for a bigger scale. We'll take another half.
Yeah, in a way, but we do have already a really established large network that would make finding those finances for the large operation a lot easier, because we are plugged into the Mexican government and we're plugged into basically all of the food producing families around here, the big food producing families that could basically see this application of the mixture between biofermentation and potentially the Keshe technology, and see a lot of value in that. And from there, since there's a fertilizing shortage all over the world anyways, it's right now there's futures being traded on fertilizer. So we are quite sure we can scale up the operation very rapidly, and there wouldn't be a lack of funds, or it wouldn't be hard to find the funds to do so.
Contact me through Keshe Foundation. Go to info@keshe.foundation, and we'll talk to you totally in a different manner, maybe.
Okay.
Sometime next week.
Works.
So much on my head. We might be able to bring another force into play for you, makes it much easier, but it's it needs a lot of thinking, but maybe we can support you and bring other things into play. Maybe otherwise you carry on with your project.
That would be awesome. Yeah, we'll reach out, and looking forward to talking.
But Sonia, if you just put about what you said, you talked to me, I'll receive the message, and give us a couple of weeks till we settle things which we are busy with. And we can use a GANS process with what you're doing. But you need to know more, and then maybe we can bring different games to play.
Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other question?
Yes, we have several, well, actually 6 questions in the Q&A. Okay, so we'll start out with Carlos, who says, "Good morning, Mr. Keshe, and to all knowledge seekers. As a knowledge seeker in alchemy in the past, the water was considered the large alchemical solvent, ava or anahita, a living tradition of reverence by water among the Zoroastrians that respects water as a source of living which fed plants, animals, and men. Today, I consider plasma technology beyond alchemy. Could you guide us on this great soul called H2O water that united 2 amino acids, hydrogen, the magnetic donor, and oxygen, the gravitational connector? We appreciate the guidance."
Every life in every corner of this universe and universe has a factor of liquidity in energy. On this planet, we call it water. In other dimensions, is what we call it, we can still call it water, but is the essence of the two, hold and feed. And if we understand this, and if we can comprehend the totality of the implication application, you do not need much in sustaining life. You got to understand the principle of creation. You call it water, hydrogen, and oxygen. Look at the amino acid, which is the sustainer of life on this planet. You have oxygen, and in between carbon and nitrogen. Where the life of the liquidity of life has engaged two other elements to create a process of dynamic life with emotion. This repeats itself across the universe. Hydrogen is the essence of the source to the creator. This is how we start everything from. We talk about deuterium, we talk about hydrogen and carbon-14 for the line of communication in the universal dimension. And if you understood what I've just said, then you understand, let's go to moon. Let's go to another planet. You have the hydrogen as a source of the line to the creator and essence of the connection to the universe. And what else the gravitational field inertia of the environment allows the liquidity, the motion, the free motion of the field. Then you understand life is not exclusivity of this planet if you understood this basic knowledge of creation. If in another planet you have the hydrogen as a base connector, and then let's say you have calcium, due to the inertial gravitational mass fields of the planet or environment, then you find another two elements in between, let's say sodium and nitrogen, and then you understand there is still life in the universe. Liquidity, liquid condition flow of the plasma for creating condition of the life in remembering, reproducing with emotion. So now, I've said many times, if you change the iron in the blood of the man with the potassium, what color do you get? What condition man would be? If we change it with calcium, what kind of ice would we create? So you always look what is the maximum holding before it comes to the position of the solid state. And within it to confirm the entrapment of liquidity fields of the planet materials or environmental materials that release in dynamic liquidity to sustaining consciousness and emotion, and then that becomes the essence of the life in that place, time, and position. Then you understand more about the knowledge of the creation. Then you understand how creation works in the dimension of how you can manifest life within the waters of one condition, one planet, than that. As I said, you created one drop, a fish in the fish tank. Now you may understand. The strength of the amino acid you drop in that water in condition of the liquidity of the field of the plasma of the planet, which is the water, creates condition of life instantaneous. And it'll take shape in the shape of a goldfish. Travel the depth of this planet and find natural waterfalls, and sometimes man-made waterfalls, and you find fish within it. We call it whale's fish. Out of nowhere. In fact, this is how life through the amino acid has created itself within the world. The same way as you created amino acid over your CO2 gans. And not every well has a fish in it. When you test the composition, you will see why. You take the water and a condition to anywhere on this planet, you'll create your fish. It's the minerals with that water and the current flow with that water which creates the condition of the amino acid on top of your gas box. But this time is within the water of the well. When you have the amino acid, and you have the nourishment of the material coming from the depth of the earth, you create life. This is why many times I have said the race of the man which now dominates this planet has not been the only one. When the dimension of materials and the temperature of this planet start reaching the position and the condition of sustaining life and creating amino acid, life flourished on this planet like weed. Some of the planets, creatures are out of the creation of the same, and some are in connection with the created and created things in the universe, which has found its replication in the dimension of atmosphere of this planet. Now you understand why even in the books of the man we talk about this race managed to take over the other race and then blah blah and the rest. In fact, if the condition of life could be created in dimension of the iron and zinc, and then you have waters which run in the depth of this planet within a few meters from the surface, and they bring their energies, and then you have the condition of the flow which creates the static current. You absorb the amino acids from the atmosphere and you set the seed of life in that position. The fish became the man who walks out of the river. The same as the fish in the, what we call mud of Africa became the man and created a new generation of life as a human race, as we were told. But now we understand any position on this planet had the opportunity and time and the position to create life. Now we understand the creation of amino acid and a cycle of emotion and a dimension in their interaction of fields. Life is not exclusivity of a place and a time and a position. Life is a God-given right at any position in the creation of the universe. If you understand what life is, it does not need the red blood and does not need to have a skin. As long as we have a soul and intelligence, that's a creation of the Creator. Any other question?
One thing that came up that I will ask you about, Mr. Keshe, is that it seems to go along with your theme today of changes and so on. Is a testimonial from Hassan. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but he has given permission to publicize his testimonial, basically, of the addiction session that we had on the previous Friday there. And it's quite an amazing testimonial. I could read that if you wish.
Go ahead. I'm sure we're going to hear it tomorrow.
Okay. So from Hassan says, "Good day, everyone. I want to give you a beginning of testimonial from the addiction session we had on Friday. I would like to thank all those who have donated all the beautiful gifts from which I received a connecting with the soul of the Creator addiction awareness. I am a heavy daily smoker, be it tobacco and cannabis. I came as advised by the team with no expectations but to give to the system. After the session, which lasted 2 hours approximately, I felt no need to smoke again. And even though I lit a cigarette on Friday and one on Saturday, I could not smoke them. It was a heavy feeling on my lungs. I may have had 2 intakes and the rest was just puffing because my body was rejecting them. I could not inhale the smoke. I tried to stop smoking in my life before, and it was not possible being a 24 years nonstop smoker. But what is beautiful with the session is that with no efforts, I can say today that I feel no need to smoke again. Another thing which happened to me is that I don't feel hungry too. Even though I had dinner on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I just went for food for no reason. I think it is because of the habit, but I can affirm and confirm that I feel no hunger since the session. Another thing which happened to me and surprised me the most, and I forgot to talk about it yesterday in the KAKT meeting, is the change on my emotions too. I feel happy for no reason, and I am less irritable. I was addicted to political information and was following political talks on social media every day and was always irritated by the news and injustice of what is going on around the globe. Today, I just stopped following all groups and news which can irritate me, and with no reason, I enjoy more music and smile during my days. I was addicted to my phone and internet in general. It is all gone. What I can say is that this technology is 100% correct, and I cannot thank Mr. Keshe and all those working in the background enough for all what is brought and being done to us for the sake of love and kindness. Love you all, dear Keshe family. Keep up the good work and sharing so that we can reach each and everyone in need on earth and beyond. All my love and care to all, Hassan. And the rooster here is crowing in the background at the end of this too.
We wait and see what testimonials we receive and how people feel about their connection. what we call ritual or what we call habits in tomorrow's session. Tomorrow's session is part of the last week's session, and in a way it opens up our eyes to a lot of things. The May session most probably will become prelude to June session, which we would like to reach the soul of men to stop the abuse of children. And this will have a follow-up effect on the works of the Keshe Foundation in the next few weeks. Those of you who care about the children of man, those of you who like to stop the process of abuse of the physicality of the children, the way we reach the soul of the leaders and we brought the change, you will understand the change which will come through the world leaders in the next few months. We would like to dedicate May and June session to change, to bring an end through the soul of the man, through the elevation of the soul of the man, to abuse of children. In reaching the soul, that with it we bring an end to the child abuse. We'll open the session in the next couple of days that you can enroll in. But this time, come in, not expect to take, but expect to bring the change. We wish and pray that you understand the meaning of this. Elevation of the King of Belgium, both the father and son, and their entourage, in promoting and being part of the major part of the child abuse and one of the major abusive nations on this planet, will be target of one of the two sessions. According to United Nations and the structure which set within the structure of the Belgian nation, child abuse and pedophilia is a way of living. It's us, if we raise the soul of the leaders, is to raise the soul of the men of nations, that this come to an end. Both raising in one session the elevation of the soul of the children, and one elevation of the soul of those who abuse children. This addiction is deep-rooted in the culture of this nation. It will be for the first time we target to elevate the soul of the leaders and the citizens of one nation, that we can bring them back into the fold of the Keshe Foundation. We got to understand that addiction comes through the habit of repetition and being doctrinated in so many ways through the soul of the man and soul of physicality. In so many ways, if we look at how people have become abusive towards children, we are not talking about only sexually, psychologically, physically. Child in many parts of the world, even in the Western Europe, still live slavery. But is hidden in new ways in the Western world. As we know, this Monday will become the day when, for the last time, a king will be crowned in the kingdom of United Kingdom. And then would it come the time that again the cycle of abuse of the physicality and the soul of the man will come to an end. Once man understand the totality of the elevation of the soul of the man, it's the beginning of the end of the kingship. And the kings shall walk away from being higher than the others themselves by elevation of their souls, and not by force and by kick. We'll see the change, and you understand more and more as the change comes. Are there any other questions?
Yes, several questions, and I'm not sure if we'll have time for everything, but we have a hand up here. Pardon me?
Early. I said, if you can, we can about 2.5 hours today. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm just trying to do some mental calculations there.
You got about 45 minutes.
Right. Okay, good.
We've got a very heavy morning session tomorrow with work, and then back again with the things and a meeting after 12 o'clock.
Understandable. Okay, so we have a question from Sarah, who had a hand up here, and it may, I'll put a forward to it that it may be a health question, or so just to be forewarned a little bit there. Go ahead, Sarah. Let's see what you'd like to talk about.
Hello, Master Keshe, and thank you very much, Master Gremont. This is Sarah. I diagnosed by cancer, and then my cancer became metastatic. I've been told that I'm not.
Are you from Iran or Iranian connected?
Yes, the thing is, Master
Keshe. Please, we do not discuss. It's nothing to do with us here. You have to go to Dr. Barapur or the doctors.
No, I'm not in Iran. I contacted him. I'm not in Iran.
Go send them. Let me explain to you, because I'm not here. I cannot answer you to do anything with you. Send your information to health@spaceshipinstitute.org, and the doctors will look at it.
Okay, but I just wanted to take a guide to make gains for my energy level, if you can guide me.
You got to understand the energy level. If you have a cancer, does it feed your cancer?
Yeah.
You understand? So this is not for us to answer here. Send your info request to the health@spaceshipinstitute.org, and then the doctors will look at it, and they'll contact you if they see they can help.
Okay, thank you very much, Master Keshe.
Very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. We have several questions in the Q&A here. One from Peter, who says, hello, Mr. Keshe. Is it possible to convert part of the magnetical gravitational fields radiated by every person's individual soul, the fields that the soul does not need, into a field strength which that person could use to feed their body? The same process would go for the soul. For example, we could create a plasmatic container in which fields that our body does not need would go and amalgamate. And when they reach a strength that the soul needs, it could absorb them. That way we could create nice symbiosis between the soul and its person, and a person and their soul. Thank you.
In the world of creation, we never seen God carrying a tank of fuels just in case he goes hungry. And I've never seen a fuel station holding energies anywhere in the universe. By the work of the fields and balance of the field. You receive what you need at the point of need, and you give what you don't need at the point that has no strength connection to you, or you need it to create a connection. So this thanking still goes back to the habit of the man. Always have to have something on the reserve if anything goes wrong. I was talking to one of our Chinese friends very recently. She said, do you know any Chinese family who doesn't have a saving? They save even if they don't have money to eat. So it's the same with a lot of human race habits. And we don't need to save to give, to have one day we need it. This is the habit of the man. And he must have come from a communist nation, most probably background, because you never knew what the next day brings, so you saved it in case something goes wrong, and with a lot of other people. And this is, there is no need for such a thing. There is no need for storing it one day I might need it.
When the body does that, we call it constipation. Too much storing, right?
Yeah, you get fat for no reason. I've never seen a fat soul. So let's see. It brings back a lot of memories when you speak about, when you bring these things to preserve and so. When the Eastern Bloc opens up in form of Russia breaking up and opening up, we used to deal with Russia. And we couldn't understand how these Russians all come out every week with $100 bills. Never seen so many $100 bills ever. Where did the Russians hide it under the blanket? Where Russians were supposed to be poor. They're supposed to have no money. And we were crying for them that the communists, they have nothing. And when the borders opened up, we never saw so many suitcases of $100 bills coming out of a nation. Even the Americans didn't have that many. Where did the Russians hide it over decades under the blankets and the pillows? Man doesn't need to save. That one day regime will change within the creator and it's created, and it needs to have something to eat on. Any other question?
Okay, question from Pamela from Brazil. Mr. Keshe, we are trying to put the pieces together to understand the communication and the emotions. In past teachings, you said that for a person to go to the moon through the lens systems, you created a mini soul, and that by the dynamic of the stronger giving to the weaker, you made the soul shift of the knowledge seeker. More recently, you said that we could do an exercise for soul expansion by visualizing the interaction between the soul of the man and the reproductive organs, and that these also produce mini souls. Adding to what was said about the Magrav device, we have the lower coil associated with the reproductive system and the formation of the rays, the beginning of the cycle of creation, but also that the rays are formed from the plasma of the emotions of the soul in the upper coil, starting the cycle again. My question is, would the intention in giving something, in sharing our love, be like these same rays or mini souls?
If you're not expecting to get something for it, it's not far from it. But if you do it with the expectation, you have already changed the course. A lot of people give expecting something, and this is where the problems with the man starts. And if you get used to understand, then even if you get it the wrong way, it will sort itself out. Where you actually take because you don't have anything to give, but you're very generous to give what you don't have. So the soul receives what you want to give, and it gives for it. In a way, you're just the intermediary of the emotion for your soul to do the job that satisfies your emotion. And this is the way it shall be. If one understands, then you can travel this kind of universes.
Okay, she has a second question. It goes, if you allow me another question, trying to understand the cycle of creation with the Magrav. From what I understood, we have the beginning of the cycle at the bottom and the end at the top, with new rays starting new cycles. But the system in balance enters into a continuous cycle of give and take, creating what I think is the gravity of the system. So if my intention for the elevation of a world leader, for example, wishing for a new cycle of peace to begin, at the same time, I am refeeding my own Magrav and creating new internal cycles with the same intention, thus ensuring the balance of the continuous flow from the base to the top of the Magrav?
More or less. But you got to understand where you're taking from. You're just looking what you give, or how you elevate, or how you progressively go higher. But there's always a take somewhere. If you understand that take, you have become wise to live it. If you just look at how it's elevated, you have lost in the maze of the, what we call ignorance of creation. Any other question?
Okay, a question in the Q&A here from Renate. Hello, Mr. Keshe, Rick, and all knowledge seekers. I have a question about building a house. I am here in South America and I am building a house. I have the opportunity to integrate plasma technology into brick production. My goal would be to keep the indoor temperature in the house at a continuous 22 degrees summer and winter. My question is, should I add only the plasma water or also some GANs into the brick production? My second question. Okay, thank you.
Because the water will dissipate in energy into the environment. If you can create dry gas and add into the, what do you call it, into your bricks or concrete, that will last much longer. But because they become center of gravity, they'll absorb and they give, and it lasts most probably the life of the building. When you come to construction, we have to understand what effects will have if you're using cement or concrete or whatever, because tests done with the materials over years shows gases have a direct effect in the structure, strength, and heat transfer of the brickwork. So build one side of the building with one type of gas and a mixture of the other, and then the other side is part of the same mixture of the other gas to create a dynamic flow. And then you have to understand, when you're making gases like this for brickwork or long term, try not to use any metal-based gases, which means like zinc or copper. Understand how the nearest energy to it is and use dynamic liquid gases like CO. When you have a CO2, it's different, it has no metal connection. When you use CH3, it has no metal connection. And we have many gases like this because concentration of the gas fields can lead to creation of other diseases within the body. So when you add gases into long-term construction or painting, never use metallic base, what they call gases. It's one of the golden rules. Any other question?
Well, you just answered, I think, her second part of that question. To create a plasma flow, I need either different types of ganses or only CO2 GANs, plasma water, in different quantity. Which would you recommend? You pretty much already recommended the CO2 GANs, water, and so on.
You need to create a give and take, and base some in and take some out. Which means if you put on one wall CH3 1 liter, you put 10, what do you call it, 0.1 of a liter of CO2 to the CH3, and the other way, the opposite way, then you create a flow. And then if you understand the creation of emotion, then you can add dimension of the gas of emotion into the whole, what we call caboodle of the ganses. And you find, for example, the house, a very peaceful house, because actually when you're sitting in, you're touching the emotion. Any other question?
A few years ago, the Chinese had named the Maggrav unit the Happy Box because they found that people made people happy that came into the room.
That's a long time ago.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Shall we have the last question?
Okay, sure. It actually is the last question in our Q&A here.
Go ahead.
Okay, from Nanoplasma Time. Thank you for the knowledge and love we receive from you. I am in the way of my killing beings to feed myself. If he consumed eggs and milk and their derivatives, I am thus killing beings. Thank you.
It all depends how you feel. The biggest problem we will have is for the whole environment of change has to come collectively, that will see it. How we can do? You cannot suddenly stop eating eggs, eating meat, everything else. It's just, as I always said many times, drive a car 100 kilometers an hour and just hit against the wall. Is we have to go through the process of the whole environment of this planet, the whole environment of the structure changes, that we don't see package of energy as food. Doesn't matter if it's an apple, an animal, or whatever. And we change this habit by providing that sensation, that emotion does not come up. So, am I eating alive if I eat the egg? Am I eating alive if I eat the raw eggs? If I eat this, what we call fashion, which has come up, is partially as what we call messages. It's our job to change the course of this planet in a way we have set up to do, to create energies that the whole race benefits by it. And sometime in the future, going to supermarket will be just for refreshing the memories of what we used to do. The supermarkets become like museums because we have found a new way to live. And this is the future. Stopping something or the other. Unless you have reached a point that everyone around you has the same understanding and capability to feed themselves through the fields of the soul, then we can all move forward. Many Chinese went into the cycle of using the fruit ganses and then putting it around the cup of water and drinking the water. One day, very soon, when you reach the totality, I'll teach you how to feed yourself through your eyes. And then you'll see the marvel of creation. We love through our eyes. And that's giving. If man learns to take energy directly through the soul, through the eye of the man, that's the art of life, just like it is. Thank you very much for today. And we call it the day. Sorry we had to shift the teaching of today for a very important reason. And we'll see you next week. And hopefully see you tomorrow in the addiction session. I hope we have more people with the change of the habit of satisfying habit change in the session tomorrow. Look for the Keshe Foundation meeting with the soul of the creator abuse of children, to first of all to raise the soul of the children which are abused, that they walk away from it, and then the soul of the abusers. Thank you very much for today, and we'll see you in the coming time.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe, once again for an amazing workshop here. I think it'll be the 484th will be one of the more memorable workshops, I'm sure, and we'll be dissecting it in our other meetings as well. Thank you. And thank everybody for being here for the 484th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, May 4th, 2023. Our next public teaching workshop is the public meeting for testimonials, which comes up on Monday, May 8th, and that starts at 8 p.m. Central European summertime. And we look forward to hearing from various people about their experiences with the plasma technology. And anyone from the public is invited to that meeting, either to hear the testimonials live or to present your own testimonial of the plasma technology, which is a great way to pay back for receiving this knowledge, is that to share it, share your experiences with it with others. Okay, and then we have on the 9th, the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace next week, and that starts at the 4 p.m. Central European time. All right, thanks everyone. We'll go out with the Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit music version, and we'll see you all in a future public workshop. Bye for now.